DJ Uiagalelei was one of the biggest disappointments in recent college football memory. This guy came in as a 5-star recruit, the heir to the Clemson dynasty and successor to one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time in Trevor Lawrence. So where did it all go wrong? Let's go back to the beginning of DJ U's career. DJ U was born in Riverside, California in 2003. DJ is of Samoan descent and he stood 6'4", 245 pounds in high school, definitely on the bigger side for a quarterback. DJ played at the legendary John Bosco High School in California. If you know anything about high school sports, John Bosco is one of the premier schools in the country, especially for football. And DJ, he put up really impressive numbers as a junior. He had 3,400 passing yards and 48 touchdowns en route to being the USA Today Offensive Player of the Year. The following season, DJ would improve on those numbers as a senior and have a campaign of 4,200 passing yards and once again 48 touchdowns. These incredible numbers got him ranked as a 5-star recruit. The only service that didn't rank DJ as a 5-star was ESPN, who ranked him just below at a very high 4-star. When you're a 5-star athlete, you get to go to any school you want. It's basically Burger King, have it your way. That was no different for DJ. He had a lot of choices. Choosing where you're going to play ball in college is a tough choice because you got to decide what school is the best fit, who has the best coach for you to learn under, and how well are you going to fit into the system with the guys already on the team, and can you win a championship? At this time, DJ's already playing ball at a really high level, and he wants to come in and compete for championships. He wants to be on that top level collegiately the same way he was trying to be on the top level in high school. And what better school to do that than Clemson? At the time, Clemson's the best team in the country. We've forgotten a little bit since over the past few years Clemson has fallen off. In the 2010s, Clemson was the team to beat. This is due in large part to Trevor Lawrence, who I personally think is the best college quarterback of all time, especially when you look at his numbers and the impact he had on his team. Obviously, you can make a lot of arguments for a lot of players, and there's definitely some recency bias having grown up watching Trevor Lawrence. But DJ looked at Trevor and saw himself, and he said to himself, I can be a great fit for this Clemson program. They have high standards, I have high standards. They win championships, I want to win championships. But DJ knew that he wasn't going to play right away. He gets to sit behind Trevor Lawrence, gets to develop his skills, and become a more polished quarterback when it's his time to take the field. DJ also liked the idea of working with Coach Dabo Swinney, who's notorious for being very friendly and developing players. I think we've all seen the meme of Dabo and DJ on the plane, and Dabo's pointing down to Clemson, saying, that's where you're going to throw touchdowns, and obviously now it has a whole different meaning. Despite not playing right away, when DJ committed to Clemson, expectations were super high. First of all, DJ is a 5-star quarterback. Anytime an athlete gets the honor of being a 5-star, it comes with tremendous expectations. And for a lot of players, those expectations are unattainable. No matter how good you might be in college, unless you're a Travis Hunter or you're this all-American type player, you're going to be labeled as a disappointment if you're a 5-star because they just expect so much out of you. In addition to having expectations of being a 5-star, DJ would have the responsibility of taking over for Trevor Lawrence, which is no easy task. But DJ saw himself up for the challenge, and honestly, up to this point, I would agree. He ended up getting his first start in 2020 because of COVID. During this time, players had to take their weekly COVID tests, and Trevor Lawrence tested positive for COVID. Clemson was taking on Boston College, a team that wasn't particularly good, but gut-punched Clemson in the game. Clemson was down 18 points in the first half and was really struggling, but DJ was able to rally the troops and come back and get that win against BC. Clemson struggling had nothing to do with DJ. His stats in that game were great. He went 31 of 40 for 342 yards and 2 TDs. And the following week, DJ once again would get to play because Trevor was out with COVID against this time undefeated Notre Dame, who at the time was one of the top teams in the country. Not to take anything away from DJ putting up good stats and coming back against BC, but Boston College isn't exactly a good team. Notre Dame, on the other hand, is a great team. In the game against Notre Dame, DJ would put up 439 passing yards on 29 of 44 for 2 touchdowns. Clemson would go on to lose that game 7 points, but that game was really entertaining. I still remember watching it. Clemson put up a real fight, and DJ showed that he could ball on this level. This honestly put so much fuel on the fire and expectations for DJ because in his 2 opportunities to start when Trevor Lawrence was still there, he showed up, and honestly, he showed out. Sure, they didn't beat Notre Dame, but every Clemson fan at the time would tell you they were excited about what was going to come for DJ. DJ U would remain Trevor's backup until 2021 when Trevor went off to the NFL. For the past few years, he was the guy all game, every game. Now Clemson has to adjust to not having him. It's like going from Tom Brady to Drake May. No matter the talent level, there's going to be an adjustment period where the new guy has to come in and get used to playing, especially at the high level that Clemson is used to. Clemson started the year ranked number 3 in the preseason poll. role. And this is a little bit because Clemson had that pedigree and the bravado of being a top team, but I also see it as the pollsters recognizing that while yes, Clemson lost their quarterback, they have a very good replacement. I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly how they rank teams, especially starting the season, but obviously if you have a great quarterback and he leaves and you don't replace him with anybody, you're probably not going to be ranked as high. But Clemson, they did that. They replaced it with somebody that was good, and by all evidence that we had seen so far, we would expect DJ to be a great college quarterback. Around this time, DJ started signing deals with brands like Dr. Pepper, Bojangles, and other various brands and appearing in commercials. Even after DJ's career didn't go exactly how he wanted it to, he would still continuously be in advertisements and doing NIL deals. Clemson would open the season taking on number 5 Georgia, and DJ, he got beat up. He went 19 of 37 for only 178 passing yards and 1 interception. This is the game that Clemson lost to Georgia 10-3, and the only reason they lost is because DJ threw a pick 6. If DJ didn't throw a pick 6, Clemson very well may have won. I remember watching this game, and man, it was a boring game. Unless you like defense, then it was a great game, but I like offense, high scoring. This level of struggle continued for DJ throughout the entire season. He just never appeared to have that same bravado Trevor Lawrence had, or even the same bravado DJ had last year in his 2 games he started against BC and Notre Dame. I felt bad for DJ at this point because fans started to turn on him. People start to talk, should they bench him? Should they get somebody else? Is this really the guy? And he starts to lose confidence. He finished the year with a 10-3 record, which is great. But remember, Clemson is stacked with NFL talent at pretty much every position. They usually have NFL running backs, they have a lot of NFL caliber receivers, and their defense is usually stacked as well. So seeing a 10-3 record isn't very surprising. He finished with 2,246 passing yards with 9 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. That's actually a pretty fair regress from his time in high school. I'm not trying to say that playing high school and college is exactly the same. Obviously it's harder, but you would realistically expect someone to be able to put up at least similar stats to their time in high school. I mean, 2,200 yards, that's less than half what he was putting up back at John Bosco. Despite a lot of rumors and speculation about him leaving, he would stay at Clemson the next year, but he wouldn't improve that much. He did improve in passing yards. He went from 2,200 up to 2,500 passing yards, but this time he had dramatically more touchdowns than interceptions. So he did turn that part of his game around, finishing with 22 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions. He also contributed 7 touchdowns on the ground, leading Clemson to an 11-2 mark in 13 games played. At this point, DJU is a little better than he was, but if you watched him play, winning 11 games, DJ still never appeared to really be in control of the team, especially at the quarterback position. He just didn't look comfortable. The offense didn't look fluid, and at this point, it's been 2 full years of starting, and this team just isn't gelling like it's supposed to. Don't get me wrong, 22 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, that's pretty good. But when you're at Clemson, you expect more than that. The expectations were set, and 22-7 just ain't cutting it. After the 2022 season, DJ decided to use the transfer portal. For DJ, it makes sense. DJ was here for 2 years, and it just didn't mesh the way he wanted it to. Clemson wasn't getting the results, and DJ wasn't putting up the stats. It was a good choice to part ways. He decided to commit to Oregon State. Oregon State's not known for being a football school. They're still in the Pac-12 because the Pac-12 is still a thing at this time, but Oregon State would be characterized as mid at best. Something I find really interesting is that in 2023, DJU was drafted by the Dodgers in the MLB draft in the 20th round. But DJ would decline because his heart was just in football. He wanted to prove he could make it, he loved the game of football, and he wasn't interested in playing in the MLB. I wonder, looking back at his career now, does DJ wish to go back and maybe take that opportunity with the Dodgers and play minor league baseball? Even though it's been a struggle to get the results he wanted in college football, it's where his heart was at. And I have to give all the respect to somebody who's committed to seeing the goal out. He easily could have threw in the towel when things got tough, but he didn't. When DJ committed to Oregon State, it wasn't a guarantee he was going to be the starting quarterback. Ben Gilbertson and Aiden Childs were both on the roster, and DJ would have to beat him out, and he was able to do it. So for 2023, DJU was going to be the quarterback of Oregon State. During his time at Oregon State, DJ put up similar stats to what he did at Clemson. He put up 21 touchdowns and 7 interceptions while passing for 2,600 yards. That's virtually the same thing. It's 1 less touchdown, but 100 more passing yards. The thing is, this is what I would call the illusion of improvement for DJU. While Clemson is overall a more talented team, Oregon wasn't the same type of team Clemson was. Oregon State is a run-first team. There's not the pressure to go out and pass for 400 yards a game like there is at Clemson. And at the time, Oregon State had Damian Martinez, who ended up being one of the top transfers the following year to Miami and an All-American caliber running back. So DJ didn't have the pressure of coming in and filling the shoes of a campus legend and being the savior at quarterback that the team needed. He could simply play his role. And Oregon State had a pretty good season. They went 8-5, but they struggled to play against teams that were good. 4 out of their 5 losses were against teams ranked in the top 25. Oregon State did have a lot of close games though. They lost to Washington State by 3, they lost to Arizona by 3, they lost to number 5 Washington by 2. Coach Jonathan Smith decided he wasn't going to stick around. He got the opportunity to go to Michigan State and be the head coach, and that makes sense. There was a lot of speculation around the Pac-12, and Michigan State is an objectively better team than Oregon State. Also, running back Damian Martinez was going to transfer. Just like that, Oregon State was now in a rebuild position. So DJ thought, do I want to stay here? Because this is his last year. We're going into DJ's senior year here. He doesn't want to waste it on a team that's going to be rebuilding and try to win, maybe 3-4 games. DJ said, okay, I need to write the next chapter of my story. At this point, DJ is a disappointment. Everyone knows him for being the guy that came in, stunk it up at Clemson, went to Oregon State, and kind of faded out in the back. It's DJ's time to put the spotlight back on himself and show the world, himself and fans, that he is worthy of that 5-star rating he got out of high school. And he decides to commit to Florida State University. There's a couple of reasons why I don't like this commitment from DJ U. First of all, Florida State was coming off a 12-0 season where they did not make the college football playoff. So there was a lot of negative attention around Florida State, but a lot of Florida State players left. For example, quarterback Jordan Travis left, a lot of skill positions as well, such as Keon Coleman on offense, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk. These are players that left on defense. So a lot of the players on the Seminoles that went 12-0 aren't going to be there. So when DJ committed to the Seminoles, this isn't that 12-0 team that played the season before. This is going to be a completely revamped team, pretty much just like Oregon State would be. DJ was going to come in, he was going to be the starter, and he was going to be able to write his redemption story. But I don't understand why DJ would want to write it at Florida State. They aren't going to have the weapons and the resources that you need because they're all graduating or transferring. Most of them are going to the NFL, actually. It just didn't seem like a good fit at the time, and it still doesn't as to why he would go there. Despite all that, DJ decided to spend his last year letting it ride with Florida State, and a ride it was, but it wasn't a ride DJ wanted to take. DJ's time at Florida State could be considered disastrous. If you watch Florida State play this year, not just DJ, the team as a whole, Florida State was terrible, but DJ in particular wasn't good. He only played in 5 games because he had a thumb injury. He went 1 win, 4 losses for only 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. He didn't even play a full season, but he took a massive step back in terms of his performance, especially when it comes to the touchdown-interception ratio. DJ would constantly miss throws, he would overthrow receivers, he would frequently get sacked, and without a real ability to run and be a dual-threat quarterback, he's just a sitting duck back there waiting for something bad to happen. Throughout the season, DJ would get more and more humiliated by his performances, and people would make fun of him. They'd make memes about him, they'd laugh at him, and that's tough. A lot of times we forget these athletes are people like we are. They have feelings and they have emotions. They can lose their confidence. And if you've ever lost confidence about something, it's really hard to go out there, especially when you have to do it in front of millions of people, and do the thing that you're self-conscious about. DJ would end up missing the rest of the year with a hand injury, but I honestly question the severity of the hand injury. I think in some part, DJ didn't want to continue playing for Florida State. It's hard when you have such expectations on you that you have to live up to them, or people are going to make fun of you and demean you every chance they get. DJ would ultimately declare for the NFL draft after 1 season at Florida State. I haven't seen anything to make me believe he's an NFL caliber quarterback, but maybe he just needs to get a fresh start somewhere else. DJ U is a tragic story of what happens when players can't live up to the expectations that they're given. When you look at DJ in his personal life, his teammates talk constantly about how great a guy DJ is. You never hear or see DJ getting into trouble. He never causes problems in the locker room. When it comes to character, DJ's an upstanding guy. He's outspoken about his Christian faith, and he holds himself in a high standard morally, and that's a very important thing a lot of people forget when it comes to athletes. DJ wasn't successful at being a college quarterback, but he has been successful at being a good young man, and that's ultimately the redemption of this tragic story. I don't think anybody could come into Clemson and realistically fill the shoes Trevor Lawrence left, so I think most quarterbacks would struggle to adapt to playing at such a high level with expectations that high at Clemson. However, I think they would have settled in. DJ, he just didn't settle into the role. DJ was smart to transfer out, but he made a mistake coming back to the ACC. I think part of his commitment to Florida State was him wanting to prove to himself and to the world that he can handle this. Because when he was at Clemson, he didn't. And he had the weight on his shoulders that he has to go show people that I can do this. There's an innate part of being a man that when people say you can't do something, you feel the desire that you have to prove them wrong. Something I think was a real problem for DJ, it was his weight. He was already a little overweight coming in at 245 pounds. Sure, DJ is 6'4", so you want to weigh a little bit more than the average quarterback, but 245 pounds is a lot. The stress and the pressure of having to live up to the spotlight, it can get to you. I think about a quarterback like Anthony Richardson. AR-15 struggled in college. At Florida, he wasn't amazing, but he had a dynamic running element to him. He could bust it out like Lamar Jackson, pick up big yards on the ground. DJ, you can't do that. So if you're a mid-passer or you struggle a little bit as a quarterback, but you have a dual threat ability, there's a lot more potential. But when you're over 250 pounds, you're not going to be able to go out there and put up 1,000-yard rushing seasons. In fact, in DJ's time at Florida State, he finished with -8 rushing yards. DJ should have committed to a program that was more tailored to his skill set. DJ's just not a quarterback leader. We all want our team to have a gunslinger that goes out and controls the game, puts up 400 yards and makes smart decisions, but no matter how much we want that for DJ, it's just not who he is as a quarterback. He's a run-first type quarterback. Let him manage the game, short, simple throws. That's why at Oregon State he looked a lot better than he really was, considering he had the same stats he did when he was at Clemson. But I have to give DJ mad respect. All the noise, the talk, criticism, and mockery from social media, DJ never publicly let that faze him. I'm not confident he's ever going to be a professional caliber quarterback on any level. Maybe he'll find something in the UFL or the AFL or whatever one of these developmental leagues are. It seems like they change their name every year. But honestly, this story is a reminder that the hero doesn't always win. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you for watching.